Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for a match of international rugby. It's been a little while since we've seen a game like this, but it is Japan taking on Australia. Now, we did see these two sides play off with their secondary sides not too long ago, but now it is international rugby. Rankings are on the line. There is plenty that could be happening throughout this game as well, so we will be keeping a close eye on it, including, by the looks of it, the weather. Looks like there might be a little bit of rain falling for this game as well. But looking through at the starting lineup, first of all, for this Japanese home team, they are just doing the greetings before the match as well as then the national anthems. But in the front row, Kobayashi as the number one, Ira at 2, and Takeuchi slots in at 3. The last game that we got to call of him was throughout the Pacific Nations Cup, and that man had an absolutely phenomenal tournament when he was. And at the side, Jack Cornelsen and Warner Dearns will make up the locking duo, the big men in action. Warner Dearns really stepping into that captaincy role quite nicely. Ben Gunther as the number 6, Shimokawa 7, and a veteran in that number 8 jersey in Michael Leach. Great to see him back for the Japanese in this game. Fujiwara will be the starting 9 with Sean-Sun Lee as the 10. Nakano and Dylan Riley make up the midfield. Osada, Ishida, and also Yazaki will be the back 3 for the Australians. This is not what some would consider as their strongest lineup. They've gone a little bit experimental, which can all be well and good if you win. But if you lose, then there's some question marks that do have to be answered. But Angus Bell, Josh Nassar, and Zainun Gore as the front rowers. Normally throughout that rugby championship, we saw Zainun Gore as well as Bell more so used as the impact players. Off the bench, Jeremy Williams and Lukan Salakai-Lotto, they will make up the locking duo. Salakai-Lotto versus Warner Dearns. That is pay-per-view right there when those two men go head-to-head. On the loose forward trio will be Nick Champion to Chris Pigney as that number 6, Carlo Tizzano, the turnover machine at 7, and Rob Valentini, he slots in as the number 8. Jay Gordon and Tane Edmed slot in as the 9 and 10 combination for the Australians. I've already seen criticism of these two, and the match hasn't even started yet. People worry Gordon's going to kick that ball away a little bit, but Edmed grew into the role in his last contest for the Australians, so hopefully he can do the same in this game as well. Hunter Paisami and Josh Fluke, they will be in the midfield with Dylan Peach, Corey Toole, and Andrew Callaway. So a lot of pace across the back 3 here for the Australians. Now, off the bench, some great options too, and then we will be reading through at the chat. For the Australians, I just have to mention it. Harry Wilson making his way off the bench is something you do not see too often for the Aussie skipper, but he is now in that position where they will use him as an impact player off the bench. Some great options here for the Japanese as well, including Sam Green in that number 23 jersey. But looking through at the chat, we have got going for Japan from Purple Dragon Universe. Sup, Hamish says, Zai, welcome in. Did you have some dinner? Funny story about that. I had something planned for dinner, and it didn't work out. I didn't hard-boil eggs very well, is all I will say. So now they have been reboiled, and I didn't have time to eat them. We have got there, Sup, Hamish, and also morning all from sunny Alberton. Says Daryl, and also we have got there going for Japan, and also Australia by 19. From Philip, and 42-28 Australia or 32-30 to Japan. Okay, so you're going either Australia by a little bit or Japan by a very thin margin. In that regard, it's a little weird. He's captain, doesn't he have like one cap? Who you talking? Warner Dearns? He's had quite a few for the Japanese, unless you're talking about one of the guys for maybe the Aussies. We have got their fast back line at Evening Hamish, and everyone says Studs Race in there too. And the captain from the Wallabies got some nice eyes. He looks like a vampire almost. Says Tanner too. And we have got their morning Hamish. Game 1, come on the Aussies. And let's go to the South, says Jacques. And of course, there are plenty more matches for these two sides coming up in the future. For the Japanese, they have got a stacked November International Tour. They have got the South Africans next week. That's going to be a tough game. That actually overlaps with Australia versus England. Once again, whoever did that scheduling did not think it through. Ireland then play the Japanese, Wales versus Japan, and then Georgia to close out the November Internationals. For the Australians, they have got England, the Ashes, taking place very soon throughout November, as well as the Ashes in Rugby League. But this is the equivalent in Rugby Union, just the one match rather than the 3 or more. But it should be a very entertaining game at Twickenham Stadium. Italy, Ireland, and France, they are the other challengers for the Wallabies. Last year's November Internationals, the Aussies actually did pretty decently. They had narrow losses in a couple of their matches, but they will certainly want to improve upon that this year. They're getting a bit more depth going. Decent British and Irish Lions tour. Decent rugby championship. But of course, they want to get off to that great start here as well. And good morning from Cape Town, H. First time However, I'm going to root for the Wallabies to crush that traitor Eddie, says Gary. And good morning, champion Wallabies fan based in Ireland, says Sam Starr. So yeah, it's greatly appreciated you all tuning in. Of course, this is quite an early international game in terms of the rugby window. It's the only international taking place this weekend that I know of. We have got Kyle Julius in the chat too. Welcome in, hope you're doing well. And also we have got there 7 a.m. too early for a beer. That is a great question. Of course, we're going to be up. To be fair, I've just realised I'm up till 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, and it's currently only 6:50 p.m. here in New Zealand. It's going to be a long night. We've got another 3 live streams still to come of the URC, which will be scheduled just around the corner. Planning for the future, mate. Says Albert there, and almost Kickoff Hamish, looking great again in this grey hoodie. And hey, Hamish Rugby Championship in February, says Brandon. If it is, I haven't heard too much about it as of yet, and the Japanese have to tackle Rob Ballatini's big legs. It's over. Yeah, he's the type of player that they have to shut down. But we also have to remember, this Japanese side, anyone who watched the Pacific Nations Cup, they were just as physical as the Pacific Island sides. You know, they were going pound for pound with Fiji up against the Canadians and the USA. They were having pretty good success too. In their semi-final, I want to say that they played the Tongans. They were able to get themselves a decent win. Watching from Fiji at 5:50 p.m. says I'm there. And hi, Hamish, weekend time, says Big Rig. It certainly is. It's international rugby time too. We see Michael Leach back out there on the field for the Japanese at the young age of 87 now. He's been around for a long time, Michael Leach. It's great to see him once again back. He's been something that's been almost missing from that loose forward trio, but it does mean that we don't actually see Amato Fakatava for this game, and he was quite evidential and impactful throughout the last matches for Japan. We have there, we're having to boiled eggs. They did not go well. They were slightly boiled, but not hard boiled. Now we have got the never too early for a beer, says Daryl. Can't believe you didn't catch that, Hamish. It probably went straight over my head, I'll be honest. We did read quite a few messages in quite quick succession. If Japan win this, I'll eat sushi every day next week. It's not happening, says Big Rig Joe. They are considered as big underdogs for this game, but there's rain. And I always like to say that rain is a little bit of an equaling factor. Angus Maybe, Morgan White, and also Richard Kelly will be the TMO. Ben O'Keefe, the main man in charge. Long night, bro. Thank you for bringing it. To us, the man, Mike Leach, legend, says Mark. Yeah, it's great to see him back out there. There's a bit of tape over the nose at the moment, but the big man, Warner Dearns, is one to also keep an eye out for. When's the game starting? It is starting in, I would say, about 1 minute's time. They are slightly late. With the national anthems. Who else is seeing way more YouTube ads than normal the last few days, says Albert. And soft eggs can't peel them nicely. No, but these were like soft. Like the yolks were soft, and the white, I think, wasn't quite cooked either. So I was like, I don't think I should eat this. Raining, says Sally. Yeah, a little bit of rain falling at the moment, and nicely taken by Australia inside of their 22 to start off this international game of rugby between the sides. And Australia late in rugby, never, Hamish, says Big Rig. I can tell which Sky is showing. So for us here in New Zealand, it's on Sky Sport 1. It'll be on Stan Sport if you are in Australia. But yeah, Sky Sport 1 is where you can catch the coverage. Same channel as we had the NPC final on just recently. But that one's going to be kicked in a touch by the Australians. There's actually a running track around this international Japanese stadium. But that can be a little bit slippery for the players with their sprigs, I have to say. They have to be careful not to run too far out, but it actually looks like there's been a decent downpour. Now overthrown by Japan, but it was strategically done, and a great steal in the breakdown. Means that now Australia have got themselves the ball off the stealer, Josh Fluke. Looks like they're going to go back into the pocket to Tane Edmed. We have got the ex is Harry Wilson, the captain for the Wallabies. Says Ethan, I don't believe he is. No, I assume that we have some sort of co-captaincy off of the bench later on in the game, but for now, he is not the captain. Going forward, nicely taken by Japan, just out from their own 40-metre line, now running this one sideways. It's a shedder. Can't quite get through the gap. What time is the NPC final? It has actually already happened. So I won't give you any spoilers, but turned out to be a decent game with the wind that they did have. Nice kicking behind from Takeuchi. In fact, that time it would have been Seonson Lee. I'd love to see Takeuchi go for the kick. The big man at tight head prop was fantastic throughout that Pacific Nations Cup. There was even a game that I believe he got man of the match. It's not on DSTV. And maybe because it's outside of the international rugby window that they don't show it on DSTV. I think we had that same problem last year for some South African viewers, that they weren't actually able to watch these games. DSTV in South Africa hasn't shown this game, says AJ. Yes, little kick in behind, attempted by the Australians, claimed by Lukan Salakai. Lotto bumps off Andrew Callaway, says, get out of the way, I'm keeping the ball. Gordon goes across to Ngor, now Edmed. Out to Nick Champion to Chris Pigney, tackled low. And Takeuchi says it was there from Ruth. Now step from Hunter Paisami. Looks like Lukan Salakai Lotto may have actually hurt himself here in his carry. Next NPC final is October 2026, says Michael. And back across to the right-hand side. Big two-man tackle from Japan. That is one thing they will never lack, and that is physicality and some great work in the breakdown too, winning the turnover. Japan survived the first early attack from the Wallabies. And first try now, Hamish, you must get Culliver with commentary to show us the picture here in DSTV land, says Albert. I'm busy watching it on DSTV, says Ethan Hooker. And this is a personal game for Australia. They want to embarrass Eddie Jones. Although I also think if they wanted to embarrass Eddie Jones, they would have gone with a slightly different looking lineup than they have. They've gone more experimental, building up a little bit of depth and having a few backup options for the matches coming up in November. Some very important ones. They are right on the verge of that top 6 all missing out. So they have to make sure that they are staying within it for the best chance in that Rugby World Cup home draw. Japan now popping it off into the hands of the veteran Michael Leachy, is tackled by Rob Valentini, and that ball's popped out on the side of the Australians, or at least it did up until the knock-on. Now they will go back for the scrum. Japan won the the wheelchair rugby last year, if you saw that. They beat Australia in it. I didn't see it, but I did end up donating to it. At the supermarket, they had like a stall outside it where they do like fundraisers. And I can't even remember what it was. I think it was the New Zealand wheelchair rugby guys. And yeah, I think it was like $50 or something. Because I didn't have cash, so I just did it through card. Oh no, I did it through bank transfer. They're quite fancy nowadays. So some bloke hopefully got that money who needed it. Eddie Jones is anyway going to lose big when they face the Box in the week. Says AJS. I don't care who wins. Says no, mama, rather listen to exciting Hamish talking. The autumn internationals are the best. Chance for teams to experiment. It's the rugby version of college. Says Big Rig. Yeah, although how much experimentation are sides willing to make just before a Rugby World Cup draw? That's the big question. Because, of course, you don't want to go too crazy, because then if you end up shooting yourself in the foot, losing a big game, then you could get yourself in a little bit of trouble. But pack weights, average weight in the Australians is 117.8, whereas for Japan it's 112. And normally Japan do pack their own punch. However, isn't it great? PNG versus Cook Islands is on free to air, says Vaughan. I did see that Cook Islands, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but they were doing all right. I don't know whether or not they still are. I think it's at half-time, isn't it, Vaughan? At this point in time, but another scrum reset here. And O'Keefe watching these ones very closely, making sure they have it right. But we are going to be covering Tonga versus Samoa tomorrow for the Rugby League, so be sure to stick around for that one. Be a bit of a crazy game. Massive hits will be happening every single set. Ready to feed this ball in for the Japanese will be Fujiwara. Now going off to the right-hand side, looping around nicely. Trying to get into that breakdown again. I think it was Hunter Paisami. He's just ended up losing his footing. I definitely give the younger players a chance to play against top competition in a big stadium setting. But it's just a friendly. Clocking some experience, says Big Rig. Now, on off to the left-hand side, being Gunther. Chopped down low by his opposite number. Rob Valentini was asking the question of Ben O'Keefe whether or not he could have a penalty. Ben O'Keefe said no, and it's a drop ball from the Japanese. It is slippery out there at the moment, that is for sure, and it becomes a penalty for the Wallabies. I'll go against Shongo Nakano, I believe, is in that number 12 jersey for the Japanese in this game. They've got Dylan Riley on the outside at 13 as Edmed prepares to kick this one towards the sideline. Looks like Valentini may also... Oh no, it's Paisami, in fact, who's getting a bit of medical attention. Looks like a change is about to be made in that number 19 jersey. I can tell you right now, that is for Lukan Salakai-Lotto, who was looking far from his best just before. It means that Josh Canham, he will make his way onto the field already after only 6.5 minutes. Mistakes with wet conditions. Taniela Tupou goes over to Lukan Salakai-Lotto. Of course, he knows a thing or two about being injured. Sounds harsh, but it's actually true. He picks up an injury most games. One's going to be thrown in by the Wallabies. Jake Gordon. Edmed going across into the hands of Carlo Tazzano. He's got himself a YouTube channel where he does vlog some of his experiences. He wasn't a very popular man in the British and Irish Lions tour, but seems like people have grown on him again. Now Hunter Paisami popping it on the outside to Dylan Peach. He wrestled down well by the big Japanese forwards. And Gordon tries to use it quickly, going into the hands of Jeremy Williams, who loses a couple metres in the process. Edmed now back across the Nick champion to Chris Pigney. Normally Japan do not concede easy tries, not early on in a game anyway. It's normally later on when that fatigue starts to set in, so Australia just have to keep on wearing them down. Ball was very close to being forward. Gordon proving to be a tough customer, says Ruth. Now short side again, Carlo Tazzano. About 42 metres from the line now, and it looks like Australia are going to go for the box kick of Jake Gordon. He's going to test out to see how this one goes. Just outside of the 22. In fact, it goes just in. Michael Leach, the man who has to line it up, and he's done very well to keep it on the side of the Brave Blossoms. And Australia's going to win, I'll be happy, says Tyrone. Another box kick coming here from Fujiwara. And does get it into touch. Bit of a territory gain there for the Australians, but not a huge amount of metres made throughout their carries. We have good there. I've never seen Rassi this angry over a Bok being banned. I think Jan-Hendrik Wessels is the most important Bok player for Rassi. He has to be careful, though, because we know what can happen, not for a coach in general, but just, if you start criticising World Rugby, it normally doesn't end well. So, yeah, he's got to be careful, because I feel like eventually, because they have done it in the past, they'll be like, right, Rassi, you're going to have a little break. And I feel like that would be the last possible thing that the Springboks need right now, is to lose their head coach. Right, Charlie Lawrence, he's on the field. I think that is for Shongo Nakano. Now, he actually had a bit of a handling error earlier on. It looked like he took a heavy collision, so maybe that is where that has come from. But both sides have actually already had to make a sub throughout this game. We're only 8 minutes in, an advantage for the Wallabies. This could be a three-pointer if they want it, but I don't know if they do. They may consider the kicking option towards the corner instead, just with where they sit on the field. That time, Dylan Riley, the man who was penalised. It looks like he may have had a bit of a knock to the head too. Oh no, Edmed turning down the three. They are instead kicking for the corner here, the Australians. Now, I know that it is raining. I'm not sure of the wind, but it does look like it's swirling a little bit. Are you right, Hamish? Says Albert. But yeah, I don't think World Rugby would hesitate to hand out some sort of suspension, which is why, you have to be very careful. Now ready to throw it in. About 12 metres out from the line here for the Australians. Good position on the field, just slowly building forward. Japanese, they are defending well. How long can they hold on for? Ball gets thrown in by Josh Nasser, almost stolen by Japan. In fact, it is. And they get themselves the penalty as well. Penalty was for the high tackle on Ayateira. It's now going to be a massive round of applause from the crowd. They are absolutely loving it. And no score yet. Japan are holding scrambling here, says Ruth. We are 10 minutes through in this contest, and we are still sitting at 0-0 between these two sides. In that NPC game that we just covered, we did see a try from Canterbury in the relatively early stages. Like they've said, not the tidiest line out there for the Australians. Someone better score soon. And floodgates to open soon, says Ruth. Well, it's already raining, so hopefully not too much in terms of the floods. But yeah, a few tries would be nice before the end of the half. Jake Gordon picks that ball up. In fact, that time it's going to be Josh Nasser. Now goes to Gordon. What a tackle. That is a massive hit from the man who initially managed to steal the ball, Ayateira. He just drove Gordon about 3 or 4 metres sideways and never looked like stopping before he put him into touch. 42-10 to the Wallabies. Do the Wallabies win for you, maybe that is? From Kyle, still think Australia will win by 15-20. Thought Australia would score early, but called that wrong. Says Big Rig. And there as well, but now ball's going to be thrown in, contested by Josh Canham. Doesn't pop out with the ball, instead it is still on the side of the Japanese. Now Fujiwara, that's another loose ball. Going to be another advantage. Zainungor, little chip in behind. All three players going for it from Japan, but none of them able to take it without it bouncing first. Is this full set for Australia? It is not, no. My under 56.5 bet is looking good. See Lee Rogers there. Yeah, at the moment it's looking like a low-scoring game. Did you place it before or after you knew that it was going to be raining for this game? Where can I watch the match live? If you're in Australia, Stan Sport. If you're in New Zealand, Sky Sport 1 is the option. Penalty to Australia, just 5 metres out from the Japanese line. Rob Ballatini working hard. Putting that pressure on, and then from there, Japan just going in off their feet. Hey man, Hopeball as well. Who do you think will get nominated for World Rugby Player of the Year and Breakthrough Player of the Year, says Rugby Itch? It's a tricky one. I think that Player of the Year, you're going to have Savia and Peter Steph-Toy both in there. The other two, I'm uncertain about. This is very close to the line for the Australians. Carlo Tazzano on the arm of Josh Nasser. They will be 1 metre out now. Fabian Holland, I'd like to see him in the breakthrough. That was very close, and they get over there, the Wallabies. For the first try of the contest, 12 minutes in. I think one of the Japanese players was trying to get the TMO involved. He's thinking there was a knock-on, but it's Nick Champion to Chris Pigney who manages to score it. There's a lot coming to the Hurricanes playing for Japan. Warner Durns, he is out there on the field at the moment. He's actually captaining this Japanese side, I believe. And finally, says Novmum, and now let's go Japan, says Nars Williams, but it's a good attacking hang on, yeah. He did throw that ball forward after scoring, I think they've ruled it as. But they've just said there about Nick Champion to Chris Pigney not having a huge amount of international experience. But doing very well indeed. Shucks, says Nars Williams. And hey, hope all is good, says Rugby Itch there too. And hopefully you're enjoying yourself, Tim. You're getting plenty of work done and you're excited for the international rugby scene. If there's anybody watching in South Africa, it says it's on Supersport, but I can't find it. There was one person in the comments who said that they were watching on DSTV, and then they never told anyone where they were watching it. So I don't know if it's somewhere hidden or whether or not they were lying. And I says Toby there. And it was a touchdown. It was a try. 7-0 now for the Australians after the 14 minutes. Going to be kicked off long by Japan and taken by Dylan Peach inside of his own 22. This is where Japan need to fire back. They can't afford too many extra points against them throughout this first half. And thanks to him, yeah, cool, Cloudy. I hope it's good your side, says Ruth. Now rolling it back again. Chance here, Gordon. Kicking from inside of his 22. That one will go into touch. Now going to be the line-out opportunity around the halfway line. Cheers, mate, says Gavin. So, yeah, hopefully you are able to find it. Because it would be a shame if this game wasn't on DSTV just because of all the internationals that are coming up. Even though, like, it doesn't involve a South African side. Have you got, like, a TV guide for DSTV that you can look at? Or Supersport? Do they have, like a, you know how they have, like, the channel guide? Scoreboard spoiled it. Says Big Rig there. And also, Cape Town Weather like a comedy movie. Says Ruth. Now a step there from Dylan Riley around the halfway line. To the left-hand side again, Michael Leach. How did New Zealand Rugby get? Oh, let Ethan Roots go. He was player of the game for Exeter Chiefs just the other day. Now pass on the outside. Bit of an awkward bouncing ball. Nicely done by Hayate Era, but there will be a penalty. And that's actually going to be for a high tackle against Japan again. Can't let Eddie get a single point, says Toby. Is it on DSTV? Someone said it was, but then they also said that they were an international rugby player a few streams ago, so it's very hard to know whether or not they were telling the truth. I'll see whether or not I can find a DSTV channel guide. We got something like that. Is that a thing? Surely it's a thing. Oh, they're saying that the TMO is going to be involved. Doesn't sound like it just yet. Where can I watch the game? Channel, says Patricio. Depends on whereabouts you are in the world. Okay, my DSTV, hang on, I'll go to sport. NXT's on. And that's about it. Oh, no, sorry, it's further down, isn't it? There's a lot of channels that have things on, but sadly, I'm not actually seeing a channel where it says this matchup. There's a whole heap of games like of replays in the URC. I would have thought that they'd show an international game of rugby over a replay, though. Now, rolling maul here for the Australians with channel in New Zealand. New Zealand is Sky Sport 1. So, yeah, nice and easy. It is on channel 211, says Ethan Hooker. Well, hopefully you are correct. Definitely not on SuperSport. I looked for it now, scrolled through all sports channels. Says Mitchell. And good morning all. Says, hey, no, welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. Currently 5 metres out from the line. Australia with Hunter Paisami. Looks like he's going to go for the pick and go on the side of the breakdown. Now, new advantage going against Japan. Their discipline just starting to creep in and be a bit of a problem here for the home side. Zayn Ngor. Pick and go now. To 7 phases in a row for Australia. Run from Jeremy Williams does get stopped and halted pretty quickly. Nothing here on DSTV. Says Farid there. But yeah, it's just a shame that it isn't being shown. I feel like it is a game that everyone's curious about in terms of where these sides are internationally. Like, of course, the Springboks supporters will want to watch this game to find out how Japan are going heading into that game next week. Oh, it looked like almost a tackle off the ball from Dylan Riley. I don't think it was on purpose. I think he just ended up tackling the wrong guy. Now, Carlo Tazzano pick and go. That has got to be close to being over the line. In fact, I would be very surprised if they can't find a grounding. It looks like Ben O'Keefe cannot. The ball has come back out, though, for the Australians. A good clean out from Zayn Ngor. Now Japan trying their best to just stop them from picking and going over the try line here. Now another chance for the Australians. They're up to 17 phases. There is another penalty advantage going against the Brave Blossoms. The worst thing is, at the end of all of these phases, they could end up with a yellow card and a try against them, depending on what the penalties were for Zayn Ngor. That's a drop ball from Rob Bellatini. And the reach to the pocket. It is a yellow card now for Japan. To be fair, what country is he an international player for? I feel like half the chat are good enough to play for Burundi, Laos, Norway or Papua New Guinea. And go Australia, says Tyrone. Right, it's going to be a yellow for Japan. I actually missed who the player was who got sent off. But it wasn't Warner Durns. And DSTV has the worst rugby coverage. No Prem, no French top 14. And they really focused on soccer, says Farid. And it is a shame. Like here in New Zealand, there was a while where we couldn't get the French top 14. And I don't think we can at the moment anyway. But yeah, it's a tricky one when you've got to get multiple different broadcasting like platforms to be able to then watch everything. But then at times, there's just times where they're not available. So it's a bit of a tricky one to juggle. Now Rob Bellatini, that'll be close. He does drop the ball off just behind him though, rather than taking the risk of being held up. Angus Bell just short to Gordon. Had Callaway with him and went, nah, I'm not giving it to him. I'll leave it for the forwards. Now pick and go again from Angus Bell. Pick and go from Australia. It's just the rinse and repeat at the moment, trying to find their way over the Japanese try line. Josh Nasser trying to keep his body low. Again, just going to be short of that try line. Crawling forward was Carlo Tazzano, who's now doing a headstand. Now pick and go again. They're not getting through, though. Some great defence from Japan. Some scrambling and desperation to stop this Australian attack. But this is going to really fatigue them. Bellatini going off to Gordon. Just needed to shove it on, but it's great rush defence there from Japan again, and they get the penalty. That is absolutely huge for Japan, and I think it was Michael Leach, the veteran, who is out on his feet. He's not even on his feet at the moment. He's on his knees trying to catch his breath. Yellow card, not ideal. Need this to be a good contest, says Toby. And Ethan should be warming up for the Scarlets game, not playing on YouTube, says Kevin. We have got there, Amish, tell that nut. Fiji vs Japan highlights is not the game you are covering. Tell that nut, Japan versus Fiji highlights. Who are we talking? Did we miss someone? Saudi Arabia just won their sevens game. And then who got the try in what position? So it was Nick, champion to Chris Pigney, number 6 for the Australians. Sorry, I did miss that one from a little bit earlier on. And we have got there as well. Personally, I don't hate DSTV. Even if I did, I would rather listen to your commentary. Says Bruce, and it is always greatly appreciated you guys popping in, even if you have the coverage available. Like, I've heard of people who will have the game and watch it on TV, but also alongside that, they'll just have the chat going too. But Australia in possession, sitting about 44 metres out from the line by Sami, going across to Nick Champion to Chris Pigney, tackled hard by Warner Durns, the Japanese skipper. Rolling this one back, Gordon, going for the box kick again. Would you mind actually commentating on the match, please? Actually describe what is happening in the field, just a hint. Says David Roberts. I mean, we normally do a little bit. If you want better coverage than this, you probably have to go to radio commentary rather than myself, because I do get distracted very easily, as you will learn. But Japan in position now with the... Oh, that looked like a head collision for Warner Durns. Oh, an Australian player's knocked out cold here. They might actually have to stop the game for him because he is sleeping big time. Sevens never does it for me. Half the fun of rugby is the enormous pile of guys crashing into each other. Yeah, this does not look good. I think it's Josh Canham who is down at the moment. Now, he is already an injury replacement. Yeah, just got his head on the wrong side there, and he was having an early nap. Unfortunately, him and Warner Durns, to be fair, neither of them really enjoyed that collision. And DSTV sucks, says Lewis. Alec just something else, says Studs Rays. Like I've said, Academy did go low, but he's not going to get up, or at least not for a little bit, and they will have to get the HIA going alongside it too. It looks like now it's going to be Harry Wilson to make his way onto the field, so I'm not too sure what's going to happen here, whether or not maybe Nick Champion to Chris Pigney goes into the locking duo. A hip or knee to face, says Studs Racy. He just went very low, which is what you're told to do, but sadly did connect with it as well. You do all right, dude. That's why I like listening to you. Says Michael, an Australian injuries, a peanut butter and jam, and an early nap. Do that as a serious injury, not a joking manner, says Dennis. There's nothing joking about it. He was sleeping. I'm just describing what happened. And, you know, it didn't look good because he had his arms up in the air like this. And normally when you do the Frankenstein, that is because you've taken quite a heavy head knock. We have got there, I'll be watching on TV, says Tyrone. Instead, they are showing an old game between Fiji and Japan. Yeah, see, that's not great. The fact that they're actually showing a match involving Japan, it's just not the game that's actually live. And we have got there Louis Yed, DSTV, says Ruth. Eddie Jones. I don't think that man's ever been pictured sitting down. He always stands in the coaching box. Jake Gordon, just having a bit of a conversation with some of those forwards there. They've had to work hard throughout the early stages of this game. It looks like a good old conversation going on for Australia in the four-back because they will have to work out exactly what the plan is now. They've lost 2 locks throughout the early stages. Lukan Salakai Lotto going down early. Now we have got there Nick Zawari, ouch, says Ruth, and picking up injuries before games against England, Ireland and France is bad luck. How long is Schmidt's contract? I think he only wanted till the end of the year, but I think they keep on trying to extend it to give him more of a chance. 80 standing stance as the same as his sitting stance. And there's a website, free website called Rugby Streams. You can watch it on. That sounds like a virus waiting to happen. But Josh Canham back up to his feet, does not need the stretcher, so great news for that man. He is up and about. But crowd give him a nice round of applause there too. Supersport has most probably the best camera coverage in the world, says Jacques. Josh Canham, because he did stay down for so long, he will not be able to continue. He does look all right, though. He looks like he's actually chilling a little bit. Probably got a bit of a headache. But, of course, it's no joking matter. I'm not allowed to say things like that. We have got there May Rain, Cape Town later, looking great, says Ruth. Yeah, there's probably going to be a bit of rain for the games today that we're covering for the URC. Although, luckily, they're away from home. They're playing at Benetton's home ground for that upcoming one. Now, scrum ready to go. Position at the moment, 71% in favour of the Australians. They have had 76% possession as well. And double the carries of their Japanese opposition. Hi again, bro, and thanks again for this game to boss. Or game 2, bro. Boss says, Brother T, no worries at all. And we've got plenty more coming up in the near future. We've got URC games just around the corner. And well, do Japan now have more of a chance for an upset win? Absolutely. Says Michael, yeah, well, with the fact that Australia are going to be playing a loose forward in the locking duo, I feel like that does bode well, although that could also mean, that might almost be another guy staying down, took a nasty knock. But yeah, alongside that, you've also got one extra jackler. Whereas the tie, says Brendan, it is nowhere to be seen. It does, well, to be fair, it can be seen. It's here, but it is not on. And Josh, good news, glad he's okay, thank goodness, says Ruth. And also we got Japan keep it going, says Ruth in there as well. Now line out again for the Australians. That one's nicely claimed by Jeremy Williams, who is the last remaining lock from the Australian lineup. I feel like he will be the target of the line out, and Japan will start to notice that a little bit. Japan's tactic is to injure the entire Wallabies team till they win by default. Says Big Rig. That one's going to be knocked back. Exactly, Jacques. That's why I don't understand why they're not showing it. Says Lewis. Now going back across, Zayn Ngor. Kicking behind from Hunter Paisami. That one's going to go just outside of the 22. Running this one forward. Now it's Yazaki. He's got the man on his outside, but didn't decide to use Osada. Well, it was almost a knock-on. In fact, it was. A little bit of a miscommunication, I would say. We have there combine that with Australia and Kiwi commentators, and you have a perfect rugby experience, says Jacques. Yeah, just knocking it on in that breakdown. Initially, it did seem like he wasn't going to go for the possession, and then Dylan Riley just couldn't make up his mind. He ended up deciding to headbutt the ground. Not quite getting it right there for the Japanese. I'm saying, obviously, don't want to pay for streaming rights, says Ethan. Now, it is going to be the scrum feed. Still another 4.5 minutes remaining of the Japanese yellow card. This is the opportunity here, if you are Australia, to try and get themselves another one. Do you think Paisami is having a good season? I thought he went well in the Rugby Championship games. Yeah, see, any chance that he got, he seemed to go all right. But at the moment, he's going to have to really fight for Len Iketel in terms of that number 12 jersey, because Iketel's probably the front runner there. Did you see that clean out on Nokia yesterday? Says, hey, no, which one are we talking? And what do you think of Japan? As in, like, the country, as in their rugby team? Like, rugby-wise, I think they're still a strong enough side that they can upset most sides around the world. It's just every once in a while, and more often than not, up against top opposition, they don't quite get it going. That's a knock-on from Michael Leach. I think it was knocked on by Corey Toole first. Little chip in behind, though, from Tane Emir. It looked like he was almost taken out. Another nice take from Michael Leach. Now kicking this one downfield, looking for a 50-22. Dylan Peach is back there. Now going back across, Corey Toole. That one's going to be put into touch, put the cake to bed, says Ethan. And towards the end, around the 70th minute, before that last try, says Haino. And dedicators for the masses mostly, the dedicated non-thinkers, says Bruce. That one's gone into touch. Now chance here at line-out time. Already 21 minutes through. It's been going very quickly, but just the one try has been scored at this point in time. Michael Leach, nicely taken, going off to the left-hand side. Fujiwara. Let's pop it off to Nakano. Oh, another loose ball, but Japan get themselves the penalty. This is a three-pointer waiting to happen if you are the Japanese. About 22 metres from the try line. Carlo Tizzano told that he was late. Warner Dearns pointing at the posts. And he says we'll take that 3 points. By the time that this kick is taken, they'll probably have about a minute and a half remaining on that yellow card. We have got there, just racist, not rude, says Gavin. I assume that's Bruce's one. I don't really know what he meant. We have got there Japan giving Aussies a good go, says Ruth. We have got there go for 3, says Dominic. And we have conceded 21 tries in 5 games. Last SZN, we only conceded 44 tries in 18. And listening from Rennes in France. And go on your Wallabies, says Chris Kelly, lining up this kick. Seonson Lee, it is completely silent now at the ground. That one's gone over. This guy is a great kicker. Yeah, Seonson Lee hardly misses. And it's the perfect thing for Japan because in that scenario, you just want to keep that scoreboard ticking over. And Karetiana has said, hello, how was your day today? It's been very good so far, been busy. We had that stream this morning. Then from there, I ended up playing cricket, coming home early from cricket so that I could do the NPC final. And now we're here for this match as well. Michael Leach, well done again. Under that high ball, only getting 3 from a yellow card isn't the best. Says Big Rig. But only getting 3 when it's a yellow card against you, I would consider pretty decent. I don't think they've actually conceded during that yellow card period. Now, Japan rolling this one back. And chance for the box kick from Fujiwara. This one moving its way down towards the halfway line. And that one's going to be knocked on this time by Michael Leach. We'll go back for yet again another scrum. Commentate, please, says David. So just to clarify, just to make sure, what I was just doing, that's not commentary, I assume you're saying. We need something a little bit more emphasis than play-by-play. And come on, Japan, let's get more, says Purple Dragon. And Japan is just slowly hanging in there. This is crucial. And also, if they can just weather the storm, at first, let's say 60 minutes. Yeah, if they can keep in it, they'll be handy enough. By the way, David, at the moment, we've got a scrum stoppage, so that's why we're not talking about the game. We have got there, this guy's a great kicker. And also Japan surely must be everybody's second team to shout for, says Jacques. I guess he wants personal stories about the players, says Big Rig. I could tell you about their boots and what they're kind of wearing today, if you're into that. 29 minutes in, Jake Gordon ready for the scrum on the halfway line. Now 5 metres in from the sideline too, on this near side of the field. There you go, that's a little bit of extra. Hunter Paisami, little pop in behind Tane Edmed. Short ball, Callaway almost going through the gap. Offloads it now to Josh Flute. No one is going to catch him. And Australia score between the posts right at the end of the yellow card. And that is possibly the worst possible time for Japan to be conceding pretty much right as that yellow card comes to a close. Too easy, says Big Rig. Yeah, that gap fully opened up. We have got the UK commentators. Do that all the time, and it gets jarring. Someone will try score a try, and the commentators will be talking about their favourite movies. Call of Duty World Rankings, says Big Rig. That one has gone in. We have got there, not that this has anything to do with footy, but how are you? And you don't have to answer, says, brother, I'm doing all right. Like I said, very busy day today. We've got another 3 live streams all throughout the night, but Josh Fluke just piercing that gap in the Japanese defence. And what a beard from Hamish. It still needs work, though. It's not quite there. I think I'm going to have to shave it off and start again. What made you decide to start doing live commentary, says Ethan? I really don't know. I think it was because we were doing rugby gaming and someone was like, you should do a watch along. And I said, okay. And then from there, we've done about 2,000. I usually yell, Boomfa, me oh my yes boy, more often. Noted. And Callaway has given up on his career. In fact, opposite, as he keeps producing opportunities for others. Says Michael, but it is kicked back off by the Japanese. Now nicely taken, Carlo Tazzano, sitting about 20 metres out from the Australian line. It's good to see the number 13 up and running after that head knock from the last game, says Tanner too. Yeah, Josh Fluke, he's already had some crucial moments throughout this one. How popular is rugby union in Australia? It's about their 5th sport. So above it is cricket, rugby league, AFL, basketball, maybe? I think is up there too. Maybe football. Football might be up there as well. But yeah, it's about 5th or so. Where do you bet on the cricket, mate? Listening from Abu Dhabi. Keep up the great call, says Sammy. So I normally bet kind of top middle order. But today, because of the fact that I had to leave early for the NPC, I actually ended up opening. And so pretty much before they even did an order, I was putting the pads on. That's another knock on from Fujiwara at the line out. We'll give Australia the opportunity to go for the scrum here. Looks frustrated. The Japanese number 9. And basketball. So what's the other one? I think they've got 4 above it, don't they? In terms of sports by popularity in Australia. Most popular sports in Australia list. So, the most popular... Oh, okay. So there's popular sports include cricket, rugby league, tennis, netball, and rugby union. AFL is also there. Swimming is up there. There you go. Basketball is on that list that they've got, but I assume it may not be right at the top. Now, around the halfway line, Hunter Paisami after a successful scrum for the Wallabies. Gordon goes back across to Rob Valentini. Emir popping in behind a Corey Tall. Rush defence on him. Another knock on coming from Dylan Riley. Looks like they're just going to say play on for that one. I'm surprised that they missed it on the near side. But if they do end up scoring right at this moment, they'll probably have to go back for it. About 50 metres out from the line. Kobayashi. Man with the ball. And hand again. We have the NRL AFL Soccer Union. Tennis is up there apparently on that list, as well as netball. So I'm not sure what the numbers would actually be in those departments. Prediction, Wallabies by 14, likely to take the win in the last 30 minutes, says Chris Kelly. He's playing 13 for the Wallabies. It is Josh Fluke. He's already had one turnover one for himself and also scored that try just before. I think it's like 8th cricket, AFL league, football, basketball, netball, and apparently badminton is more popular. Well, there you go. People love the old shuttlecocks. Now line out on the halfway line for the Australians. Nick Champion to Chris Pigney. He scored one of the 2 tries that were seen from the Aussies, but they do lead at the moment 14 points to 3. The Rugby World Cup in 2027 will give it a bump. It must, says Jacques. Oh, another stolen ball at line-out time for Japan. So that is somewhere that Australia have really struggled with throughout the early stages. And morning go Japan, says Johan Goosen in there too. Now it's stolen there and the counter ruck for the Australians. Referee getting involved in that one. Right, it is going to be called as Australia's ball here. Horse racing is a huge sport like the Melbourne Cup. Yeah, Melbourne Cup is absolutely huge. Like people will, in their workplaces, take the hour of the Melbourne Cup off. And morning go Japan, says Johan there. Netball is not getting 70k people rocking up to watch a game, possibly because they don't have stadiums to fit 70,000 though. I'll be interested in the viewing numbers in terms of like broadcasting. Because I know that a lot of the New Zealand netballers go to Australia now because the money's better because it's more popular there. Or at least they have more budget to be able to use that. But let us say loss in Perth this year didn't help Union. Says Studs race. Storm is going to win today. Our worst race of the year to bet on. Melbourne Cup is a scam, says Jamie. Now going off to the left-hand side. Little ball on the inside to Hunter Paisami. Getting in that breakdown. Ben Gunther looking for the steal. Can't quite do it. Only 35 minutes through in this contest. Into the breakdown again. This time for Japan. Gunther, but did enough. No, he's going to be penalised for it. Having his feet. In fact, having his hands down in front of him. Keefer said there was no control there from Gunther. So he will, he's having a bit of a swear about it. Not happy. That number 6 jersey, but it does now give Australia another opportunity. Are you a dad, bruv? I am not a dad, bruv. I don't think I am mature enough to be a parent. I coach kids cricket though, so I feel like that's not being, like I'm not a dad, but I have to try and be a role model of sorts. And that's hard to do because I find everything far too funny. Now, ready for the line out here, about 20 metres out from the line for the Australians. Chance here for Josh Nassar to throw this one in. Line out's lost at the moment. We've seen Australia lose 2 of their own. Japan have lost 3 of their own. You're the great old man, says Brother T. Now, this rolling maul is moving very nicely towards the try line, although it is also edging slightly closer to the sideline. Breaking off the back. Tazano can't be stopped. They want to check it. All they're calling it is held up. It looked like a try. It's another yellow card for the Japanese, but I think they need to check that. That looked like Tazano was down to me. What's the weather condition? Is it impacting the line? It's a bit slippery. I'm not sure about the wind, though, in that department. If Japan want to win, try before halftime would go a long way towards that and didn't need that. Yeah, so another change. It's Takeuchi has to make his way off. You think league's starting to gain popularity on Union in New Zealand a little bit. Like there are the talks of a second team. I think that if the Wars win the NRL, that's when a lot more people are going to get into it. We have got the nominations for 2025 World Rugby Awards, not in order. World Rugby Player of the Year, Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu, Louis Bielberich, Dan Sheehan and Artie Savia. So you're leaving out Peter Steph-Toy. You're a brave man, Tim. Because I feel like as soon as you leave out Peter Steph-Toy, people get angry. And then also Dan Sheehan, the breakthrough player of the year, Sua'ali'i, Henry Pollock, Max Jorgensen, Ethan Hooker. Okay, fair enough. Jorgensen would be a good shout in that department. Pollock, he's got that British and Irish Lions tour underneath him, doesn't he? I play squash, the food, says Renier. I think league, I read that one, and it doesn't even seem close. Japan is not the same league as Australia. I think they need to check this try. And I think that is what they are doing now. Tazzano looked like he slid it on in. And this might be very close to being grounded. They just need to see a grounding, but Ben Gunther's underneath him, so it's going to be hard to try and find it. Oh, it may have brushed grass, but there's no proof of it. So I would say, because of that, that looks pretty good. Sasha will win, says Ruth. Yeah, I don't think he needs any extra pressure, though, does he? I think this is going to be no try. They aren't going to have clear, conclusive evidence that that one went down. It's actually very well done from Gunther, because from that angle, initially from him running, it looked like there was no denying that he would be able to get that one down. League is a joke. The Kiwis are too smart to play league, says Jamie. We've got their try, says the Hobbit. And Forbes declared squash the healthiest sport in the world, based on calorie burn, cardio endurance, muscular strength, muscular endurance, flexibility, and injury risk into consideration. Really? That surprises me. Because, you're surrounded by big walls and people are clumsy. So, I wonder how many people actually hurt themselves in squash from the wall. That's going to be nicely driven forward. That one will not be denied by Carlo Tazzano as he goes in for try number 3 for Australia. So if you want to drop a few pounds, go play some squash, says Big Rig. And Tazzano says Rugby Itch. And my sons Ryan and Oliver are crowded around me listening in, says Chris. So yeah, shout out to Ryan and Oliver as well as Chris for all being here for this game. Who are you going for in this one, Chris? Are you going for the Aussies or going for the Japanese? And Wu says the Hobbit. And try. Yeah, that one's not going to be denied. He made sure that he got it down this time. So head towards the halfway line. Actually, oh, hang on. Sorry. We're going to do a TMO check and see whether or not there's going to be a breakaway of this maul. And maybe Fabian Holland, the breakthrough player of the year, he would be one of my nominations. I think he's done extremely well for the Kiwis. The fact that he is now the first lock that you put down on paper when Scott Barrett is your captain tells you exactly how well he's been going. People who play racket sports live longer on average. Well, there you go. I assume you're meaning then the ones who don't play racket sports. Watching league is like watching grass grow, says Bruce. Yeah, although when that grass is growing, pretty good. Ask George about grass growth. He absolutely loves the stuff. He chops it for a living. So seeing grass grow, that would make him a very happy man. Oh, see, I think that Valentini, that looks like he's quite far ahead and almost blocked the chance of Fujiwara being able to play at Carlo Tazzano. Okay, they're saying here that Zainun Gore is the player that they're going for. Yeah, he's in front of the jumper, so this is going to be no try again for Tazzano. 2 in a row. If that ball comes fast at you and it hits you, I don't know if it is that safe, says Haino. And Aussie mate. And we do like Japan. I feel like Japan are one of those sides that quite a few people have as about their second or third team, isn't it? Like they don't mind going up against the Japanese. Also, the Japanese crowds are absolutely incredible. So now, no try for Carlo Tazzano. He's having a bit of a rough run at the moment. The Aussie number 7. Is that because racket sports are played mainly by wealthy people in higher socio-economic regions, says Studs Race. This pisses me off as an Argentinian. We are going head-to-head for 6th place. We rotated the squad against England in July, which cost us lots of points, and now we have less games than Oz. Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because Australia by the end of November, they may actually be wishing they had less games. But it all comes down to who loses which ones overall. But yeah, I feel like Argentina and Australia, with how close it is, it would be nice to see how close it would be. Do you think the Springboks against the Japan, or win against Japan? They should do South Africa. And Japan as the team, you want to see beat every team except yours. Says Big Rig, and Japan to score now would make it interesting. Yeah, at the moment. Going high. Nicely taken by Tane Edmere. Big driving shot from the Japanese. We're already 38.5 minutes through, and that's going to be the penalty. Going the way of Japan. Fujiwara decides to take the quick tap, trying to speed this game up a little bit more for Japan. We haven't seen much of a Sutter, and we haven't seen much of a Shitter out on those two wings at the moment. That is where they have to try and get that ball going. I reckon people have... I don't know what you try to say. We have a look there. What's the score at the moment? The score is 14-3. So that try was taken off the Australians, which hopefully it will be on the scoreboard very soon. Off to the right-hand side again, Michael Leach back involved. On right-hand side, looping around, Dylan Riley with the skip pass. And that goes now to Osada. Hypothetically speaking, do you think Rob Valentini will make the All Blacks? He's a brilliant player, says Naz. Depends where he's playing. If he's playing 8, then I'd say probably. But if he's playing the same position as Savi, I feel like one of them would have to make way off the bench, and that's probably where Valentini is. I thought it was 3:19. It was up until that try was disallowed. It just hasn't gone away yet. Anyone knows where to watch this internationally? I woke up early for it, thinking it was on Disney Plus. Like usual, Argentina, then we don't. Unfortunately, it might be quite tricky to find unless you've got some sort of VPN to set you to another location. Now, stepping around the side again. What do you guys make of paddle? Is it like paddle ball? Now, there's a halftime siren. Rob Valentini trying to get in the breakdown, but the ball's still on the side of the Japanese. They are 13 phases in. Big collision there. Josh Nasser, though, does get back up to his feet. Now passed on the outside. Ben Gunther, tackled by Dylan Peach. They're trying to wrestle him towards the sideline. Australia wanted the steal. Yeah, the sport. I actually saw some people playing it on Thursday when we were using the indoor cricket nets. They were playing a little bit of paddleball. It makes a cool noise when it hits the bat. I have a VPN, but I'm not finding it anywhere. So yeah, with the VPN, you could probably find it on Stan, but sadly, I think they got rid of their free trial, which would be setting yourself to Australia. Now, looking for the steal there in the breakdown. Carlo Tizzano gets it by Sami. They're trying to put this ball into touch by the looks of it, Australia. At least there was half a second where they were going to try. And now, okay, now they'll kick it into touch. It looked like for a second that there was going to be a counter-attack going on. A scoreboard had one too many Guinnesses. So yeah, it's Big Rig there. And I have a VPN. And also we have the... I got a site. Can I share? The thing is, if people can get a virus from it, probably not. Even if it works and you haven't had a virus from it before, if it's like one of those illegal sites, it's recommended not to have it. I was struggling not to say what a peach every time Peach did something good. You see, I still make a couple wizard puns every once in a while for Harry Potter, but I think we're slowly taking that out of our. Well, I have to go commentary now, don't I? Because of course earlier on we got told we weren't doing it. But we have got there, what's the site? Says Jamie and says Gavin there too. But looking through at the benches for these two sides, ladies and gentlemen, some great options. Sam Green, that number 23 jersey. We've already seen Lawrence make his way onto the field due to an injury. We saw Cannon make his way onto the field due to the injury of Lukan Salakaioloto, just to then make his way back off the field because he ended up with the head knock. So Harry Wilson out there at the moment. Other than that, though, I think that's all of the changes that we're seeing for the Australians. And a couple yellow cards that Japan have had to deal with in this match as well. They have got 4 more matches of the November Internationals. They'll be playing up against the world champs, the Box, in match number 1. Ireland, Wales, and Georgia will be their final challenge of the November Internationals. That wasn't even a sentence. That just kept on going. But England versus Australia, that will be the first game for the Aussies in November. Then they have got Italy, Ireland, and also France. So the thing is, if Australia don't play well, they could lose 3 of those 4. And that is where, when you look at Argentina, and a lack of games, it may not be a bad thing. If Australia struggle, it may actually mean that Argentina don't drop enough points that they will be within that World Cup top 6. And Hamish, New Zealand viewing times for international games must be the worst in the world. I feel for your brother, respect. Yeah. Like, July's not too bad sometimes, but then July's still not great because for South African time zones and Argentinian, in fact, no, international rugby in general, you are right. I was trying to justify it with the fact that every once in a while New Zealand or Australia have a decent houred game, but there's a lot of random hour ones. Harry Potter is all right, but I don't know if rugby will top Hall playing as a hooker. That's what turned non-rugby fans' heads whenever they heard it, says Big Rig. What is it with the Wallabies and injuries? They seem to get more than other teams, says Sam Starr. They do have a lot in recent times. Like, there was a while there where the Wallabies probably had about 5 changes in the lineup due to injuries, even just in the British and Irish Lions. Or the Rugby Championship, we saw certain players going down. I like Rob Valentini, says Lewis, and conditioning. And where's Soaliti? Why is he not playing? They are saving him for the game up against England by the looks of it. And yikes, that Japan run is going to be tough. Have they got the depth of players after South Africa and Ireland? Tricky question. I know that Eddie Jones throughout the Pacific Nations Cup was working on building the depth. Same can be said about even just the July games up against the Welsh. They do have quite a deep squad, Japan, but it's whether or not all of them are at that world-class level or whether they're just in there for the sake of it, if that makes sense. We have got there, should ditch the autumn. One-off games, go back to proper tours. Well, that's kind of what they're planning on doing in the future, or at least we're starting to see it going in a little bit. And we have got there, it's possible, but I think playing at Twickenham will give England a big boost. And personally, I hope England fall out and the Aussies and Pumas make it, says Hayno. Could happen. That home field advantage and the fact that they are higher up in the rankings can actually work against them in some regards. So, yeah. Like, there's a lot on the line. And the thing is, it can only take one game. If you lose it, then you're in trouble. Why was Tizano's try denied? The first or the second one? First one was denied because they called it as held up. Second one was denied because of Zayn and Gore joining into the rolling maul in front of the man with the ball. So that is considered as obstruction, and that is why it was disallowed. So it's an unlucky one, but it's something that they have been really honing in on recently in terms of TMOs checking for it. We have got there as well about Suaalii, but yeah, when he comes back, it'll be great to see him in those Northern Hemisphere games up against England, Italy, Ireland, and France. France gone with quite a young side, thank you. It was the second one, appreciate it, says Jan there, no worries at all. But yeah, it's one of those ones that sometimes in the replay, you look at it and you go, was it that bad? But then they are very strict. And Australia versus England, what do you reckon? We talking rugby union or the rugby league game tonight? Because I know that the first match of the Ashes series between the two teams is happening for rugby league in only around maybe 6 hours time. In fact, I think it will about 6 hours. And England do have a habit of choking in the second half after winning in the first. They have the world record for that and all of international rugby union, fun fact. That is a fun fact, although not so much for England, I wouldn't think. Speaking of England, I think they just showed them there. Who was that? That was Manu Tuolangi, I think, on the screen. But yeah, second half, not a mile away. Go like this. Like that as well. In terms of the schedule that is coming up, ladies and gentlemen, we have got plenty more. 3 games of the URC. Also, Samoa versus Tonga. I am going to be covering that game tomorrow afternoon or early evening for us here in New Zealand. Union, who cares for league? Quite a few people do. The League World Cup's coming up as well. And the Rugby League, surely Australia win that. Well, they should, but they've got the disadvantage of home, like ground advantage for the English. So, yeah, I don't know. My brain, I think Australia should, looking at their side. But England, they are pretty decent too, if that makes sense. Like, they're not going to be a walk in the park. Definitely not with the fact that they are playing in England. But I think it's going to be a great game. I'm going to be keeping an eye on it while the URC is also going on. We have got their Morning H. What channel are you viewing the game on? Watching it on Sky Sport 1 here in New Zealand. I think England will narrowly beat Wallabies / the Pumas in close games. Thrash Fiji and get destroyed by New Zealand. The Autumn Internationals are 125 years old now. You want a ride more history from, or erase more history, I assume that is, from rugby. Rugby is built on history. Says Michael, and thanks, says 1 p.m. No worries at all. At the moment, they are showing an ad for a big burger. That is unfortunate. Does that burger have an egg in it? It doesn't. So that's good. I'll have a bit of PTSD because I absolutely butchered some hard-boiled eggs just before the stream. Tried to rip into them and it just didn't work. They were still pretty much raw. So that's not good. Yes, saw it. Says 1 p.m. Bosch. Let's see if we'll go like this. And like that as well. Japan at the moment are considered big underdogs, as you would expect in this scenario. But honestly, they probably don't mind the scoreline. Weird to say, because of course you ideally want to be in the lead. But Japan have had 2 yellow cards. So, they're not sitting badly. I think they will almost take that first half. We have got there, my only point is that it would help us. I cannot see the match to enjoy the match if you comment to telling us what is happening from play to play. You're now talking about your cricket match. That's because it's half time, David. We've gone through the teams, we've looked at a few of the stats, and now we're just waiting for the second half to get back underway. Because sadly, like here in New Zealand at the moment, we've got Rebel Sport ads, we've got cars on the screen. So we haven't actually got a lot to talk about. We went through Japan and Australia in terms of the upcoming games as well, to keep an eye out for in the November Internationals, but there's only so in-depth we can go when there's nothing happening. And sadly, because of how stop-start rugby is nowadays, the thing is, every time I go off on a different tangent, it's because we've got a stoppage for a scrum or an injury, or the players are taking forever to get into position. So when there is the match happening, we normally try our best to do the play-by-play, but in the gaps, that's when we'll read the chat. However, the Australia still think about their top 6 seeding, or should think about their top 6. Yeah, it's thoroughly important. You want to be in that first grouping played in Chicago as money and grow the game of the USA. Although I reckon it's mostly the money. Yeah, there'll be some pretty good dollars going on over there. Watching from Kenya, says Joshua, it is greatly appreciated. A car that splits into 2. What's that address about? Interesting Kiwi ads. I can't actually remember what ad or what that's advertising. I think it's to do with like data and how strong their coverage is or something. We'll get there, Chicago, bringing more people to the 2031 Rugby World Cup. Says Michael. Not sure why New Zealand are playing Ireland in Chicago. It's just, it's the money. It's big. It's like when we saw South Africa versus Argentina at Twickenham. That was because it was more financially beneficial for Argentina to play out of their own country. Paddleball has really taken off in Gauteng, says Daryl. And we're also unlucky for Valentini and Tizzano. Yeah, I think that Tizzano, the fact that he's crossed the try line twice and neither of them he has managed to score, same score. I went to watch MotoGP qualifying. I want America to get into rugby. I just feel bad for all the Irish and New Zealand fans who have to fly international to see their own team. Yeah, that's the tricky part. Although there do seem to be a lot of people overseas who are willing to go to those games when they're on. We all know Australia are probably better now than they have been for over a decade or so, says NZ Riot. They've got some pretty handy players, pretty good prospects. The department, but second half just about to get underway. Sides have not made their way out of the tunnel as of yet, but 14 points to 3 at the moment, the way that it sits. Just the 3 points for Seonson Lee of Japan, whereas for the Wallabies, they have had the 2 tries. Nick Champion to Chris Pigney managed to score the first, and then alongside that, we also saw the try from Josh Fluke of a breakaway as well. Argentina 2, they're shafting their own fans for big bucks, says Big Rig. Yeah, I agree, Australia is definitely stronger nowadays, says Chris. And there too. They sound like they're trying to get the crowd fired up. I'm not sure what that chant means, but the crowd are loud for this matchup. It is quite interesting how loud they will get during general play, and then as soon as there is a kicking opportunity at the post, just dead silent. Not a peep. We have the Australia coming back to the team. They used to be back in the day. I love it, says Big Rig. But now second half just about to start up. They are just doing a little bit of running repairs on the pitch. Because of the wet conditions, it does mean in those scrums that it's been ripping up the field that little bit. Bryn Hall watching on for this game, as well as Bernard Foley, I do see in the stands. A couple of players who are taking part in the Japanese league. We have got there Paula has said hi, welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. We are excited for the plenty more games of rugby that are on tonight. We are going to be doing 3 games in a row of the URC. We are going to be doing the Lions versus Ulster. There's Dave Rennie. Plenty of people, familiar faces out there at the moment. Also Sharks versus Scarlets. And then following that one, it will be the match between the Stormers and Benetton. However, there, Foley's still one of my favourite Aussie games. Says, hey, no there. Yeah, quite a few supporters for the Australians in the stands, which is good to see, but also a huge amount of support for this Japanese side too. Right, this is interesting. It's just come up with there was an error accessing this video. That's strange. We will go back into it, hopefully. It says that I'm not connected to the internet, but I'm still streaming. That's weird. We'll try and refresh and see whether or not it's going to work. There must be a lot of Aussies. Yeah, please ensure that you are connected to the internet. If the issue pursues, contact support. That is a weird one. And there must be a lot of Aussies there. They are overly loud usually, especially after a few tinnies. Says Bruce. I wonder if that's Sky Sport. Is it down in general? Is yours still working, Juan Pierre Bosch, or are you through Sky? You're on Sky TV or other source? I'm on Sky Sport now. Have you paid your Sky bill? I have like a yearly subscription for the Sky bill. But it would be weird that it would just cut out at that very point in time. I might have to get the old iPad out for the second half. Because that is very weird. Yeah, it says ensure that you're connected to the internet. I can still see the game. So I guess my Wi-Fi is out on one screen, but not out on the other. So what we will quickly do, ladies and gents, I better go get myself a device to be able to watch the game on. In fact, I could watch it on my phone. Perhaps. Have I got Sky Sport now on my phone? I do. See whether or not it lets me in. I don't know if I've signed in on it before. We'll go like that. It says for me to sign in, so we will do just that. And this is, of course, right before the second half does get underway. Like that. Like that. And like that. I don't remember my password. So that's not good. But I've got about 17 that it could be. So we'll just slowly work through them until one says, yep, that's it. Interesting. We have got there, it is raining and refresh and stormy weather maybe. It could be stormy weather, but it's just weird that this screen is completely fine and no issues whatsoever, whereas Sky on the other screen doesn't seem to like me. 1 second, we'll try again on my phone. Got authentication failed. So I will quickly go get my iPad, ladies and gentlemen. So you will have to stare at just this green screen behind me. Unless, no, I haven't really got anything that I can put there. I'll be back in about 1 minute's time. Take polls. Oh, those polls are a nightmare on our phone. Says tuck there. So all you have to do is just either answer them or close them. Your two options, and then it disappears. But we will be back in a very short moment. Just going to get a device. Right, we are back. Sick of it, says Tuck. So did you click on like an option? Because I assume you're talking about the fact that it blocks the chat, but all you have to do is literally just click it and then it will be fine. It takes much less effort than like literally typing sick of it. Don't worry, Hamish, some of us like you. Says Bruce there. And we're there watching in Japan on the telly. Kickoff now, Aussie's got it. Right, so I am signed in on my tablet. Watch from, I click watch from start. That's kind of annoying. But it's loading. It's loading and we're good. Right, okay, we're doing second half on the tablet. It looks like there's a groinal injury here for one of the Japanese players. I'm not too sure where to put my iPad. I guess I'll just hold it. So I think it will be in the way. Be a streamer. And when you talk, your voice sings. Aces says it was from... I apologize in advance for your name because I feel like I'm going to get it wrong. But is it Fiwa Mundla? Hopefully that's close. Ouch says NZ Riot. I missed a lot, 2 red cards, and a woman went into childbirth. Well, she's done well. She's done it that quickly, but yeah, looks like a bit of an injury. One of the Japanese players. Feel like I need a better place to put it than looking down. In fact, I do have a better place to put it. With a little bit of luck. We'll take it out of the case. And we'll grab it. We'll rotate this thing. This is actually an iPad holder. I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier. There we go. Back in. It's wonky, but it will do the job. I just had twins, says Nov Mum there. So the scoreboard is still updating. Everything's working except for the sky itself. But we'll go with it. At least it hasn't cut out. We have got there, nothing much happened. Japanese guy off injured. And also about to have a scrum, says FM there a little bit earlier on as well. But the scrum will be on the near side of the field. It is going to be the scrum for the Japanese. They sit 25 metres out from their try line. As an all watcher, I got to watch the World Cup a couple of years ago from Ireland. That was your favourite for the next one. I mean, it is going to be tough to beat South Africa because you look through at their depth at the moment and what they've been able to accomplish throughout the last couple of years. Like, they are building towards something big. But I do also think the likes of a France, when they get their full squad together, can be very dangerous. The Sky's crying, says Michael. That one's going to be kicked high. Now knocked on by Osada. Looks like he landed on his face. And they're actually going to call the first knock on against Corey Toole. Which does mean that it will be a Japanese scrum. We have got there going by this game. How do you think Wales will go up against Japan? Well, the last time that they played them, they actually lost to the Welsh, didn't they? But I'd say that Japan haven't been anywhere near as clinical as they would have liked to be throughout this match as of yet. They are still hanging in it. They're down by the 11 points, which of course will probably add up eventually. Now we have got the All Blacks playing a game this weekend. They are not. But next weekend, the All Blacks 15 as well as the All Blacks, they will both be in action. For one of those games, it will be New Zealand versus Ireland. And the other, it is the All Blacks 15 versus Barbarians. Wales versus Japan, might see Japan win that one. Georgia might get a surprise win if they keep it in the forward, says Chris. And also, they played twice and both won once. Wales finally ending their losing streak, says Big Rig. Now 4 minutes remaining of that Japanese yellow card as we get ready for another scrum going down. We've had plenty of them throughout this game due to a few of the handling errors that have already taken place. There's going to be the penalty advantage in favour of the Australians. Jake Gordon trying to get away from Leach. Passes it off to Toole on the short side. Little chip in behind. 22 metres from the try line. Cleaned up at the back from the Brave Blossoms, but we'll go back for the penalty advantage. Listening from South Africa, I must support Australia as my brother lives in Oz, says Ludi there. And congratulations, Canterbury, says the Hobbit. Yeah, still plenty more rugby coming up today. We are doing the 3 games of the URC. They should be very intriguing ones. It looks like it is actually raining heavier than it was in the first half at the moment. Pretty tough conditions to be able to play in if you are guys out there on the field. Maybe that is why we've had a slightly lower scoring game as well. But, you know, I think there's still 1 or 2 tries at least in this game. And I think that Japan are going to get themselves one. Just FYI, it's raining in Chile here in Japan, about 15 degrees. Not sure that favours either team. Yeah, I think it favours a slightly lower scoring game, doesn't it? Because as much as these two sides love to play that fast-paced attacking rugby, having just that little bit of slipperiness, I mean, lineouts for one, have been a little bit of a lottery so far. Ball's going to pop into the hands of Japan again. To the left-hand side, finding Ben Gunter. And also going to take a while for this for his team to grow. It's going to be kicked into touch now by Japan. Australia again will have themselves the line out. They're starting to win that territory battle even more than they did in the first as the Japanese struggle to get out of their own half. You know, it's just the tip of the finger for Jack Cornelison. Now thrown in by Australia. And again, it's going to be claimed. Pops out the back. Picked up by Japan. Little bit of a break and run down the short side. Now Fujiwara putting the grubber in behind himself. And just about going out. Yes, Tane Emme. Great defense there from Japan. They want to take the quick throw. Emme told not to do it. Clear video shown for the ball grab. And we have got there. So at my gym, the Connacht players go to. Yesterday I asked the boys about the ball grab ban on the Bulls player and how pissed the bot camp is for the 9 weeks. Anyway, the player told me there was clear video. Yeah, see, the clear video hasn't been shown a lot. But, yeah, it's a very interesting one. I don't know why the bots don't also send a 15 team like New Zealand to the north. I actually don't know either. Or even if they were to send them around Africa. You know, take on Kenya, Zimbabwe, those type of sides that are actually going to be like either playing sevens or union in the near future. Zimbabwe have qualified for the World Cup. So, like, you play them, you play Namibia, you give those guys an opportunity that don't normally get games. And you get to develop depth as well at the same time, but I guess it's just because of the injury side of things. They don't want any sort of extra ones in there. Or big fend off from Dylan Peach, currently sitting about 15 metres out from their own line. Here, the Wallabies. Gordon gets ready to clear it back. They're first going to recycle it with the forwards a couple more times. I saw a clear video of a punch. I never saw a clean video of the ball grab. Says Big Rig, and URC should share the evidence if they've got it. Says Thuds Race. Usually the videos are X-rated, says Big Rig. Now rolling this one back. Jake Gordon putting it up high. Does get it down into touch. So about maybe 30 metres out from the line now for the Japanese. They're on the far side of the field. Dealing with the wet conditions, and both sides have struggled at line-out time all throughout the game. I don't think this one's going to be too different. And imagine if Japan beat Wales. Says NZ right. It can happen. Like, it literally happened about 4 months ago. They were able to get themselves the win over the Welsh. Now, ball's popping out the back. Off to the right-hand side. Big attack and run forward. Eventually managing to wrestle down Shimokawa. Now Takeuchi on the short side. This is Japan's best attacking chance I think they've had in quite some time. Michael Leach tackled by Dylan Peach. Fujiwara going across again. Little cross kick attempted here for Japan. Osada running onto it. Corey Toa only had eyes for the man rather than the ball. Actually conceded a couple extra metres in the process. I thought Wales was on the improve. Hope so, says Studs Race. Wales is a mess right now, says Big Rig. Now off to the right-hand side. Little bit of shuffling going on from Takeuchi. 5 metres out for the Brave Blossoms. Fujiwara. Yeah, moving it away to the right-hand side. Zayn Ngor having to make the all-important tackle, and now rush defence from Australia, not allowing Japan not to get those couple of extra metres that they're after. Skip pass on the outside. Goes to Osada. Close to the sideline again, and it is slippery. So you cannot afford to get too close. The Wallabies should get it. Although this is an inexperienced Wallabies. I'm not sure the nut grab happened, but show us. And now the poor guy is 9 weeks out. Says Jacques. Yeah, it's a weird one. It's really strange that... But then I was talking to someone about it. And it just seems weird that if you were going to try and... Like, you'd assume it was... Let's say if it didn't happen, it would be because they didn't want their player suspended from a punch. But then, you know, it's a very out there thing to accuse a bloke of. But, you know, like collisions happen, of course. They're just showing that drop ball from the Japanese, but they have got themselves a line out around the halfway line now. Although their under-20 side is good, I just need a coach training infrastructure. For a guy that played 80 minutes, I sure caught a lot of speed at the end. Says Jacques. Now a little chip attempted in behind. There is a player down at the moment in back play. I believe it is a Japanese player and almost ended up getting collided with and would have been Andrew Callaway. I think they're Gordon there. Going to pass it back across to the right-hand side. I don't think we're going to be a mile away from having a stoppage for the Japanese player. Although I think that Australia have realised that if they go for a bit of an attack here, they've actually got a man advantage. And instead, kicking that ball back downfield, it's going to be cleaned up by Ishida. Do you like this Wallaby selection today? I think there are better sides, but it's good for depth. And that's the main thing. At this point in time, you just want to try and give as many guys the opportunity. It's going to be pretty tricky in terms of balancing out those 4 other games for the Aussies. Ball kicked high again by Fujiwara, and it looks like one of the Japanese players is now getting worked off of the field. Does mean that more than likely, they're going towards them again. Passed on the outside. Embed knocks it on. And now it is going to be the scrum feed for Japan when they do go back to their full 15. They cut it back from 12 to 9 to the guy being a decent lad. So here's Big Rig. I feel sorry for Vessels. Wonder who's taking his place. Probably Gerhard Stennekamp, I would say. Straight back in there. They've also got Oxen Share. They've got, on the other side, you've got Zachary Porthien and you've got Thomas DeToy. Can play both sides. So they've got plenty of options in that regard. And all Japan have to do is hang in there for the 60th minute, and then all the pressure will be on Australia to close this game out because the score is so close. We have got there who got squirrel gripped. And then we've got you're effing joking for Josh Murphy. We have got there, I need Japan to win this one. I want to support all Southerners across the Europeans, but I don't want Oz to overtake Argentina, so Japan needs to win, says Argent Swiss. The rain's still falling at the game, 51 minutes through. The score still remains at that 14 points to 3. Free kick awarded. In fact, this time it is a penalty for Japan. Now there is the decision. Do you go for the line out, or do you go for the corner? Or do you go for the 3? It looks like they are going for the corner. It was primarily taken to replace Bongi on hooker, says Jacques. Well, you've also got, Marco van Staden's played as a part-time hooker before, so I don't think it's not the end of the world. They have still got guys. They've got Manus van der Merwe, who is a specialist hooker that they don't even bother playing. So, if anything, it's probably given him a bit more of an opportunity. But then, I think he got dropped from the squad, didn't he? I think they've just got Malcolm Marks and Bongi alongside. I think there was a third one too. Go Australia, says Kian. Great corner kick. Yeah, only 5 metres out from the line now. Fujiwara goes across to Michael Leach. A little bit of urgency about the way that Japan are attacking at the moment, knowing how crucial it is for the next few moments. How is this game so bad? I would say just down to the rain. Are you saying how is it bad because of the score? Or have you been watching it? Takeuchi goes through and scores the try for Japan, the big tight head prop, that now gets them back into this game. Now that's a fantastic try. Says Suds raising try there too. You can see Eddie Jones' face. It's getting close to the 60th minute. Japan can just hang in there. They could win this one. They've just scored themselves a try. So that will help. Bongi's not in the tour squad, says Matthew. So they got Malcolm Marks. Van der Merwe's in there, right? And then I think there was one. That is a good try, says One Pierre. Yeah, because Bongi's on standby, isn't he? He's on standby duty alongside about 7 other players that can then make their way in. But Takeuchi scores. That was Jan, says Matthew. And as Jasper in, says Mohadin. Jasper Vesa is there. I don't think Kobus Vesa is, though. That one has missed away to the side for Japan, so that will make the score now 8 points to 14. Less than a 7-point split between the two sides. Bongi is on standby, yes. And we watch this match on TV, says Francisco. For us here in New Zealand, it's on Sky Sport 1. Stan Sport also have it in Australia. And weather is always a leveler, says Michael. And yeah, with these two sides being as close as they are at the moment, it does not take a lot for one big moment to change this game. If you really think the rain is bad, then you have not seen the terrible windy conditions for the NPC final. Everything was being affected by the wind. Says Tanner 2. And channel, please. So for us here in New Zealand, it's Sky Sport 1. And Stan Sport, I don't think they have channels. But now Dylan Peach nicely taken under the high ball there. Across to the right-hand side, but Bongi's suspended. Are you sure it's Bongi and not... I know that Mapimpi's suspended for 5 weeks. Is Bongi also on a suspension? We have this age. Would you agree? It seems South African players get massive game bans compared to the rest. I do see it like this as well. Says 1PS. Sounds like a very loaded question. I think that the Makazole Mapimpi one, I've already mentioned about it quite a few times, but I have no sympathy for him whatsoever because he was just brain dead in the moment. Like, he was annoyed that someone pushed him after he scored a try, and he was fuming, and he was sitting there thinking, I'm going to tip tackle or I'm going to smash one of them, and he picked on the smallest player on the opposition team. So 5 weeks, I think, is justified for him because it was just stupid. I think that Jan Hendrik Wessels, it's a situation that if he did grab a guy's ball sack, he deserves to be banned for a while. But if there's no proof of a ball sack grab, then maybe it is harsh. But, you know, it just depends on the situation. Because, you know, there are guys who get away with stuff. And it's just, you know, it depends on who's on the panel on the day, kind of. Now going off to the right-hand side, Lloyd has said not shown in the UK on TV, which is a massive shame because they should have this game plenty of places. In fact, I would have loved if it was free to air on YouTube for this game. Now sitting only about the 10 metres out from the line, Carlo Tazzano, another pick and go 5 metres out for the Australians as Japan just jumping into that breakdown. They've already had 2 yellow cards, so can't really afford another one. Now Dylan Peach. And that little bit closer to the try line, Jeremy Williams. He has done well as the lone lock. Australia make a meter, says Studs Race here. Every single carry's getting them the one at the moment, and they've had 22 phases in a row, but they're going back for the penalty. Where do I watch this, says Mr. Trader? If you're in New Zealand, it's on Sky Sport. If you're in Australia, it's on Stan Sport. And other than that, there aren't really a huge amount of options, sadly. Eddie Jones smiling when his team is losing. It's pretty typical, says Big Rig. And also, we have got there, help me please, says Francisco, name channel please. So Sky Sport is the one for us here in New Zealand. And Box are more violent and aggressive players. Says Michael Mbongi can play, but I don't think he should. Yet if Marnus really needs conditioning. Yeah, I think Marnus van der Merwe, he hasn't done anything wrong, in my opinion. Yet he keeps on getting dropped from the side. Like, they hardly play him. There's a lot happening in the fullback. Just don't get caught. Says Jacques. Now rolling forward here, Australia. Rolling more. Massive chance they will go in after kicking for the quarter off the penalty. That try is a crucial one right there for the Aussies. Morning Hamish says, there's Vonday. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. What happened to the Bulls last night? Last when I was watching, they were in the game. And I saw the final score. It looked bad, says Andy. Yeah, they just kind of fell off at the end of that game. Do you think Bongi will be called up to the box squad after losing Jan Hendrik? Or do you think since we have Maka van Staden, we don't need anyone, and Krobela also becomes second choice this November? I think that Rassi, because it's so early, he's got the option of adding an extra guy. And I don't think anything's been confirmed yet, but, you know, you've got Marnus, you've got Maka van Staden to cover there because at the moment, you know, it's going to be hard for him to get minutes with Sia Kolisi in the starting side. And also a couple very handy players in that loose forward trio. That one from Tainib Med misses away to the side. So it has been a pretty tough day for kicking at the moment here. It's going to make the score 19 points to 8. See that rush defense attempted by the Japanese. So maybe that was actually what it was, or at least the rush of the kick, I should say. Now 57 minutes through. Still an 11-point lead for the Australians. If Japan want any chance of winning this game, they have to score next. Very happy Pollard is back, says Mohaddin. Kick downfield. Nicely taken by Harry Wilson. Pops it back to Tane Edmed. Once again, get that ball into touch. 40 metres out from the line. Japan are going to have themselves another line out. I was about to say James Slipper, but Aiden Ross going to make his way off of the bench for the Australians. That'll be for Angus Bell. A few more changes are soon to be made by this Australian side. I think Japan won't be a mile away from making a couple of their last switches too. Still staying out there at the moment. Hirata Ira, that number 2 jersey, he's had a very solid game. In fact, all of Japan's front row have been doing a decent job. Looking for that ball in the breakdown. Fujiwara. And we'll go off to this right-hand side. Finds Michael Leach. And talking about doing a good job, that man coming back for his first game of international rugby for a while. Looks like he hasn't really lost any spring in the step. Hamish, which in the Northern Hemisphere teams do you think will provide the toughest challenge this year. If you're talking about for New Zealand, I would say Ireland, to be fair. Got a pretty well-oiled side, definitely with the fact that it's on neutral ground as well, although, of course, if it was at the Aviva, probably give them a bit more of a crack. And also England at Twickenham, I think, is going to be one to keep an eye on. There is another knock-on this time from the Australians. Does now give the opportunity to Japan to be able to get that scrum going. France, says Daryl. And we have got the Mongi is so out of form, they need to put him aside. Play club rugby, says Avril. But Australia have conceded that scrum about 15 metres out from the try line. Lorna Dern still out there alongside Jack Cornelison, two men in the locking duo that have been causing problems for Australia's lineout, but also had a few problems of their own too. As lineouts, I believe we've had about 3 or 4 lost for both teams at this point in time. I start chatting about the box. Let's focus on the game. Says I'm there as well. However, I don't think England will beat New Zealand. Says Big Rig. Yeah, it's hard to tell. I just never trust England at home. I feel like they've always got that chance of beating anyone. Currently, quarter of this match to go. We've ticked over to the 60-minute mark here. So rain still continues to pour. Japan International Stadium. New front row options here. Robertson's on the field. Pollard as well as Ross. I think that's all the forward changes made for the Australians. Still a couple more that they can make in the backs. Fujiwara, the scrum, holding strong, not really moving an inch. Though it does mean that they will have to use their backline. Nice little inside ball to Asada. Trying to look for that steal on the breakdown was Carlo Tazzano. Now just 1 metre short for the Japanese as that ball sprung out the side. They're looking for a ground and they've got themselves the penalty advantage and they're over Japan. Score themselves another one. This time it looks like Ben Gunter has popped up and has been celebrating it. Oh no, in fact it's Fujiwara who does get the try, and now Japan are back in this again. And Scotland poses a big challenge to the AB since they'll be hungry to beat New Zealand for the first time ever. Well, this is excellent, says Michael. Yeah, it's turning into quite the game between these two sides. A very close fixture head-to-head wise. In terms of just, well, in terms of scoreboard, sorry. I was going to say head-to-head wise, possession, territory, everything has been in favour of the Australians. Go Japan, says I'm there. Yeah, great finish. They might check to see if there's a knock-on in this breakdown. I think it just comes off the foot of Michael Leach, in which case it is play on, and then Fujiwara was initially just short. And something about Twickenham, England seem to grow 3 foot for a game at home, except when they're playing Wales. Says Studs raised there as well, but that kick has gone over. Does now make the score sitting a total of 15-19. I love how competitive Japan has become in recent years, says Slarty, and also Aussies are frustrated they did need a yellow card. Well, they've already had 2 yellow cards up against the Japanese, but the scoreboard I don't think replicates that. And in just this last little moment, Japan seem to be taking a little bit of control. Fujiwara. I don't think they'll be in any hurry to take that man off. He has made some great decisions from the 9 jersey. Both men going up for it, and that one's going to be dropped by Andrew Callaway. I think he was asking for a penalty, but referee says, no, you don't. Keep playing. And off to the left-hand side now. Little stutter step from the Japanese moving up to the halfway line. It's gone as planned. If Japan can stick in there for the next 80 minutes, they could have a chance. Another good tackle made by Hunter Paisami going short side. Fujiwara tried the kick. Doesn't work out. Come on, the underdogs. Says Brick Core. Yeah, he's frustrated. Fujiwara knows that one needed to go a little bit more towards the sideline. Or sorry, away from the sideline and then curl back round. Now, chance here for the Australian line out. They've got Billy Pollard now out on the field. He did actually start a few of the games for the Australians not too long ago. I was just watching them 8 or 10 years ago. It seemed like they were all short, fat, extremely fast. Fun. Says Slarty there now. Wallabies. Possession again. Still another 17 minutes remaining. Rolling this one right back for Jake Gordon. They do still have Ryan Lonergan to make his way off of the bench. Going up for the high ball. Corey Toole again just can't quite claim it. Warner Dearns trying to keep that ball alive. Football pass across, but it was in touch. I'll go back for it again. I think Japan will do the same thing they did against Fiji, coming late from behind. So here's Ima. Oh, it looks like Warner-Durn's getting some electrolytes in or something to try and help with a bit of cramp he was potentially about to feel. Yeah, tried the football kick back infield. Ball was on the line though. You reckon the latest news about the Welsh regions will hurt them or motivate them? If Argentina lose that game, we are cooked. But we don't deal with being favourites. So here's Argent Swifts. It's a bit of an interesting one because I think from the sounds of it, people are surprised at the teams that are actually going to stay out of the Welsh teams. But, yeah, it'll be intriguing. Only 4 points difference between these two sides. Nicely done by Corey Toole. Now, that game between Japan and Fiji, in the end, was 33-27 in favour of the Fijians. So Japan have fought back, but they haven't finished the job just yet. Australia must drop Corey Toole. He's not made for international 15s, only 7, says AJS. And anyone watching Rugby League Ashes tonight, I'm going to be watching it hopefully on my second screen. So we are going to be doing the URC commentary, but I'll be keeping a close eye on that match as well, just to see how it goes. Now Michael Leach passes back across. Seun-Sin Lee has had nowhere near enough of the ball, I don't feel, in that number 10 jersey for the Japanese throughout this contest, although a lack of possession will do that to you now. Seun-Sin going on the outside. Dylan Riley link it up nice, and then it's going to be dropped there by Ishida. I couldn't believe how fast and short fit they were at the same time, but also very creative, fun to watch. Says Slarty and unlucky, says Michael. Yeah, almost a breakaway chance. Then just the pass from Charlie Lawrence wasn't quite into the breadbasket of Ishida the way that he would have liked it to be. Now some deep breaths out there on the field for both of these sides. They're starting to feel it. What is Michael Leach made of? He's looked gassed for 60 minutes, but it's still everywhere. Says Studs Race. And like you said, Hamish, you don't want to underestimate Japan just because World Cup placements. I can't watch in Australia, or I can't watch, are Australia playing poorer than they should be, or are Japan playing to be the tier 1 side? I would say Australia haven't played well in these conditions, I think is the best way of describing it. Japan have been very competitive in a few parts of this game, but you would say that Australia should be ahead by more. They've had much more possession and territory, and also Japan have had 2 yellow cards, but Australia is still only, at this point in time, 4 points ahead. The Japanese at home will probably give it their all, and Japanese are playing good now. What is the Rugby League Ashes? It is Australia versus England in a 3-match Rugby League series. It starts tonight at about 2:30 a.m. New Zealand time, I think, is when that first game has taken place. Or something like that anyway. 2:30 a.m. Australia are considered as the favourites for that contest. That first game of the URC that we are going to be covering, it is starting at 12:45 a.m. New Zealand time, so we will be starting probably around 12:30. Who's attacking, bro? It is going to be the scrum for Australia. I know that they probably were given the chance of either a line-out or a scrum, but the scrum is the better choice. Both sides have struggled. I always thought Ashes was to do with cricket. It is. But they're doing it to kind of hype it up like it is the Cricket Ashes series situation. How long to go in this game? Still another 14 minutes left in this match. So plenty of time for Japan to be able to get those 4 points back. But Australia score one more. I would say that's pretty much done and dusted. And morning, I'm so late. Australia, give it your all. You can do it. Okay, says Zach. In 15 minutes, says Slarty. And there as well. Now, Jake Gordon. Did you put it in? Why is this game not shown on Supersport? That's a great question. I feel like it should be. You know, it's international rugby, and I assume they got the licensing for the Autumn Nations matches maybe, but just didn't get the licensing for this one as well. Now, a big run forward from Hunter Paisami, just slips over in these extremely wet conditions. Hello Tazano with the big clean out on Michael Leach. I do see that Takeuchi has been taken off the field. That is for Tamefusa. And try Australia, please, says Nishal. And let's go Japan, says Zach. Rolling this one back. Jake Gordon again looking to that aerial challenge. Dylan Peach chasing after it and leaping up for the ball. Can't quite get it clean. Knock on from the Japanese, though. So it does bring another scrum chance. This is where that one big handling error could be the difference. if you are the Japanese, giving up possession there. She's in a little bit of trouble. This game is outside the windows of World Rugby. Says Michael. Yeah, but you'd still think that they would consider showing it. Seeing as, like I mentioned, South Africa are playing Japan next week. So a lot of people would probably want to see what this Japanese side's going to be like heading into that game next weekend. Fakatava was HIA. Says IMA, but it looks like Michael Leach, he is making his way from the field. These are some stats. 21 tackles made for the veteran. He gets the big round of applause from the crowd, as he should. South Africans don't watch Australia games. To be fair, we've had quite a few that have said that they would have watched this game had it been on Supersport. How old is Michael Leach? That's a great question. I feel like he's like 40, isn't he? He's been around for a long time. Michael Leach. He is, where is he? It's an American football coach, apparently. Michael Leach he's actually only 37. I would have guessed 40. Bloke's been around for a very long time, but no, he's still probably got a couple years in him. World Rugby are really bad at getting people to actually watch the game, says Big Rig. And good morning, close game, says Martin. You're very close between these two sides. Australia trying to put that final big shot. That's huge. And a massive tackle from Japan. Knock on first from the Australians. And that was the shot once again from the starting number 2, Era. Looks like he's taken all the wind out of Tom Robertson. Watching the NPC final, the amount of irrelevant stats they keep posting was beyond annoying. Says a Sporting Kiwi. You think making the games available to watch and then promoting them would be a top priority. Said they expect fans to do it. Says Big Rig. I'm South African and always watch Australia play, says Justin. Now just the 11 minutes. It's ticking over. Tom Robertson is struggling. He took a nasty shot to the midsection. Era is the player of the match, says Michael. And yeah, looks like, interesting. So they've actually taken Tom Robertson off and they're calling it an HIA. I wonder whether or not that's strategic so that they can bring Zane and Gore back out rather than not being able to replace him. Because I would say, from what I saw there, I don't think he took a knock to the head. And if he did, surely they would look at a replay and just work out whether or not there was foul play involved. Australia was the most exciting team in the Rugby Championship until they played the All Blacks, says a Sporting Kiwi, and well, he's old enough to be some of these Japanese players' father. His experience is definitely crucial in their development. And can you show the screen? Sadly, any match footage or audio that gets shown would get me taken straight off YouTube with a copyright strike. So we have to just do the play-by-play. But the highlights, I'm hoping, will be up on rugby.com.au's YouTube channel straight after the game. So yeah, with a little bit of luck, you'll be able to catch the moments of the contest there. But now, ready to go short side here for Japan. That was a forward pass. Looks like it's going to be led away with, though. Yeah, they'll be happy enough with that. Now going off to the right again. Passed across here for the Japanese. They just need that big line break. Or maybe even, the question is, if they were in a kickable position, would they take 3? Or would they decide instead to go risky and go to the corner? Who do you think will win? Well, Australia, they've been favourites right throughout this game. But at the moment, another knock on from Japan. That's hurting them big time. The handling and the penalty count. But yeah, unless Australia do something really poor here, they should win. But at the same time, Japan are close enough in this game that they can make a comeback if needed. Who's attacking? Japan were attacking, but now it's an Australian scrum. In this scenario, Japan changing the rules on the amount of international players allowed on their team? No idea. Imagine if Japan won this, it would be massive for them. And the thing is, at the moment, with the exception of possession, territory, handling errors, penalty count, and yellow cards, they probably deserve to win. Because they've had some good moments throughout this matchup. And Australia, I think, would be, when you list what they've done better, they'd be pretty annoyed if they were to go down and lose this. Thanks for the commentary. Stuck in a rugby televised black hole here in Sweden. Says Ian Smith. So it is greatly appreciated you popping in. We are going to be covering a majority of the November Internationals on the channel. Short side run here from Gordon. Let's then put it into the 22 of the Japanese. Bit of an awkward bouncing ball there. nicely cleaned up at the back, and now Ishida is going to be running it right back. And tell you what, no one's going to touch a ball on the inside, but unfortunately for them, it's just forwards. And then another knock on from the Japanese. Peach not able to get through some great defence from Ben Gunter. Now 40 metres out for the line. Looks like Ishida may have actually hurt himself in the process. In fact, my apologies. That is actually Ira who is down. It's the last player that they want to be losing. Great line break. Says one Pierre Bosch. Now Australia back in control of the ball. Just imagine a rugby championship with Japan and Fiji, I assume, is what you add in there. Or maybe just Japan. Australia loses this game. Will they drop a point in the world rankings? I'm not actually sure whether or not ranking points were on the line for this game. I want to say they were, but then at the same time, it's an international friendly, but I do feel like that still has implications, doesn't it? And what are the conditions like? Seem scrappy? Yeah, heavy rain all throughout this game. Little bit of breeze as well to deal with for the players. Another big knock on from the Australians. So both sides are struggling to be able to hang on to it. Another knock on this time from Fujiwara, but they will go back for the initial scrum. This time the feed for the Japanese. And please, Japan score, says Bruce there. At the moment, just those 8 minutes remaining. It's another crucial era, and Stan have the rights for rugby, so others have to buy the rights from Stan. Some suppliers don't want to buy them. That's why not everyone sees the game. And also we have got there, so who do you think will win? I still think that Australia will do enough to get the victory here. But I also do think that this game is far from over. And Japan are close enough at the moment that if they can hang on to that ball a little bit here, get themselves, let's say, 70%, 65% possession, they'd have a pretty decent chance of doing something. It's not on the window of rankings. Says one Pierre Bosch. Ranking points are on the line, 3 for Oz and 1.6 if they lose. Or 0.3 for Oz if they win. I didn't realise this was on. Was the score, or well, the scoreline is crazy. Australia playing bad or Japan playing good? A little bit of both. I'd say Tony Bed also, he has made his way off for Hamish Stewart. Has now made his way onto the field. Gone off to the left-hand side for the Japanese. Saito is also onto the field. That is for Ira. Still affects the rankings, says Argentine or Argent Swiss. What games you're still doing? We have got the 3 games of the URC involving South African sides, and then also some rugby league tomorrow as the plan. Now off to the right again for Kura. Going across, little grubber attempted him behind from Ben Gunter. He's going to stay low. Not normal that you do see a number 6 kicking the ball, but it was actually a pretty decent one. Is Jorgensen playing? He is not. They've left a lot of their players out of this lineup, the Australians. And at this stage, with how close the game is, it may come back to bite them. Australia struggling to beat Japan, says Nkabe there. And yeah, like I mentioned, probably you call it Australia developmental. Yes, it is still the squad, but I would say looking through at the starting lineup, you've probably got 10 guys who won't start in any of the big matches for Australia. Eddie Jones, you'd say he's still got a few rotations that he can make to his side as well. Next week's games are a lot, says Mohadin. There's a lot of matches coming up in international rugby. We're going to be covering as many of them on the channel as we can. But of course, hopefully it all runs smoothly. Line out throw, nicely done by Japan around the halfway line. And once again, they're starting to get a little bit more possession going. Good run forward from Charlie Lawrence. Starts to drive his legs, 42 metres out from the line. I'm back across for Kuda. One of his first plays as a halfback in this game. Who do you think will be the player of the match? I would say that Ira was right up there in terms of what he was able to do. They may give it to Leach if Japan were able to win, or perhaps Takeuchi. But I would say if Australia win, man of the match for them's probably either Carlo Tizzano. Nick Champion to Chris Pigney's probably going to get a decent shout too. In the back line, Paisami or Fluke. There's actually a few guys. I don't think anyone's really fully confirmed man of the match, though. We have got there, Hamish, what's the story in the Kiwi camp? With one coach in your team leaving again, I think he just decided it was time to go. I think it was all mutual, so Of course, the media are going to try and stir it up, but he probably has his reasons, and some of them may not even be disclosed. But yeah, I don't think it's anything too serious. We have going to get some sleep before Lions game or just going to chill. Tricky decision to make because, of course, that Lions game is around 3 hours away or almost 4 hours. So, I don't know. I'll probably end up cooking something to eat at some point. But then that takes away about an hour of sleep. And then is it worth going to sleep for an hour? And yes, Dan, it says 1 Pierre Bosch. Any match that is not a full international does not count towards ranking points, so I'm not sure what this game is classified as. Currently, Australia, they are back in possession 75 minutes through, and they are inside of the 22 with Jake Gordon, who looks like he's going to be playing a majority of this game. Ryan Lonergan still waiting for his chance. I'm actually shocked Argentina is ahead of the Wallabies currently, says Slarty. And also, I get the need to rotate, but it's dangerous. Argentina did the same in July, leaving 15 players out for the England series, and it cost us massively. Japan have done pretty well. Yeah, they've been a strong side throughout this match. And like I mentioned, pouring rain, 2 yellow cards for Japan. Lineouts at times have been shaky. They've had less position, less territory, more handling errors, more penalties conceded, yet they're still only down by 4. So, another knock-on coming from Japan as well. I think they're asking for a knock-on at lineout time. Haven't been given it as of yet. What internationals are you doing, says Kevin? Most of them is the main plan. So next weekend, for instance, I'm going to be doing, what do we got? We got Barbarians, New Zealand 15, South Africa, Japan, Scotland, USA overlaps with that one, so we won't be able to do that. But then we have got Ireland versus New Zealand. So they are all the games that are taking place next week. So that's only 3. It's going to be a light schedule. I wanted to do England, Australia, but it overlaps with the South Africa, Japan game. So that made no sense as to why they'd do that. Box will punish Japan if they get 2 yellow cards again, says AJS. And I'm a bot, but this Japan could sneak South Africa again next week, only for South Africa to rock up against France deeply wounded, says Robin. But we have got another scrum, 3 minutes now left on the clock. Crowd starting to get behind their team. France will beat South Africa, says the Sporting Kiwi. Got the Brave Blossoms scarf by the looks of it in the stands as well. For Australia, I think they'd just be happy enough with the 4-point win at this point in time. They have got themselves a scrum feed, Japan. They did check and they did find the knock-on from the line-out. You know what, the vocal cords are struggling a little bit at the moment, going off to the right-hand side for Japan. Great tackle on Seon-Sin Lee. And it's going to be knocked backwards. Australia, though, straight in the breakdown. This could be their ball for Lepo Dungunu. Trying to get the ball, and that is a penalty to the Australians round halfway. Makes no sense. Organised, says Bruce. We have got the Aussies just in front. Not very convincing, says Ruth. Now, looks like Callaway. He is going to kick this one for the corner. So they are opting away from 3 points. 3-point would, use up a little bit more time on the clock. But at the same time, I think they want that win. A little bit similar to what we saw in their game up against the Argentines where they went riskier. Is that what the penalty was for? Oh, no, never mind. Sorry. That was a tackle from Gordon initially and then in the breakdown. That is when Japan were penalised. All Blacks were lucky. France came to New Zealand with a B team. France best team in the world for me, says the Sporting Kiwi. Now ready to throw this ball in. It will be Billy Pollard. That one's not straight, but Japan didn't contest. 90 seconds remaining on the clock now. If you're Australia and you're 10 metres out from the try line, do you keep on attacking or do you just kick it into touch and claim the win? It's a decision that they may have to make in the very near future. This one rolling nicely towards the 22, about 30 out. Jake Gordon wants the hands of Hunter Paisami, who has been busy all throughout the 80 minutes of this game. Harry Wilson off of the bench, still fresh enough. And with the early injury of Josh Canham, looking for the steal and the breakdown, not quite coming for Japan. And Kenji Sato, currently just the 1 minute left now. This will inspire the Wallabies against the Northern Hemisphere teams, says Michael. Japan, just think Jesse Creel 10 years ago and score that try, says Robin. Yeah, Australia, they look like they've gone into their shell. They weren't making enough metres with the attack, so they are happy enough just going phase after phase here. Only still another 35 seconds remaining. This is going to feel like an eternity for Japan if they can't get the turnover in the breakdown. They have to make the right decision as to when to engage. Harry Wilson getting chopped down low. Still 20 seconds left now. Jake Gordon being told to use it. It's not the most exciting way for it to finish, but it is certainly going to be effective for the Australians. Gordon again. Ryan Lonergan, he won't even get to feature in this game. 3 seconds remaining. Gordon looking up at the clock, just getting confirmation from Ben O'Keefe, and that ball's gone into touch. A tough one there for the Australians, but they get themselves the win. 19 points to the 15. Aspinall will KO Garn. Are we okay there? Why would you get plastic surgery on your nose before a rugby game? Says one Pierre Bosch, and unfortunately I was correct. Australia win. Says Bruce, and I don't think many people are anticipating such a close game between these two sides. So that is once again a credit to how Japan were able to play in this contest. Also, like Australia, this will give them a bit of confidence with the fact that they were able to get the win, but they will still feel like there's a little bit more that has to be done heading forward. Anticlimax says Big Rig. It was a little bit last minute of just going phase after phase and then eventually putting that ball out. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel as we have got plenty more coming up later on tonight. I'm just about to schedule those URC games. We have got there, what a close game. Says David in there too. We have got there, well done the Aussies. Says Avril as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for being here. Plenty of URC and also Samoa versus Tonga in the Rugby League tomorrow, as well as not confirmed yet, but potentially in the first game of the Sunday, there might be Australia versus Samoa in the women's match of Rugby League. We'll see what's happening. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for being here, and I will see you all for the next one.